Happy early May, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ben Derry along with meteorologist Jamie Cagle. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And welcome to another edition of Weather Minds, where we talk about weather or whatever is on our minds. Yeah, it could be local, it could be national, any big weather story within the last week or so. We dive into it, and we also talk about some fun and interesting topics as well.
It's meant to be fun. We're meant to very relaxed here.
That's right. And we are entering that time of year where it's like spectacular weather. It's summer heat, but without the summer humidity. And I, for one, have been waiting for a long time for this. And it's also time of year where we don't have any big mosquitoes out there either, or not many.
Not yet. I will say there have been a few gnats in the backyard, though, when we're out doing the weather, especially that 10 o'clock newscast. Yeah, you got to watch out. You're going to inhale a few gnats standing out there.
Out on, there's in the newsroom, there's a table, and on that table yesterday I saw a giant bag, a plastic bag full of rhubarb. Was that you?
No, that was not me.
That was not you. Okay. But you have lots of rhubarb in your house that you've occasionally distributed amongst the newsroom.
I usually send an email out to you, Belinda, a couple of producers, and say, harvesting the rhubarb, are you interested? And I'll put it in the refrigerator. But our rhubarb plant is just exploded. So we'll be harvesting that, and it seems like about every 2 weeks, we literally could get a big bag of that stuff. It's unreal how
I love it.
How it grows. Yeah.
I remember just like sitting and like chewing on a stalk of it as a kid, you know. And it's weird, like the leaves are poisonous, right? They're toxic.
Yeah, stay away from the leaves.
Stay away from the leaves, but the stem you could eat all day long. Put them in pies and stuff. So we are at a nice time of year where we can see glorious weather.
Oh yeah.
But we also are at that time of year where we could see some pretty nasty weather as well. Case in point, on this day, May the 6th, in 1965, it was one of the worst tornado outbreaks in Minnesota state history. A lot of you might remember this. This was 60 years ago today. There were 6 tornadoes in and around the Twin Cities. 4 of those were F4 tornadoes. This was before the enhanced Fujita scale, so F4 out of 5. It's pretty significant. And it was also the first time in Twin Cities history that civil defense sirens were actually used for severe weather. And you can imagine just the fear that day, where knowing that there could be some bad weather, but then hearing sirens like there's some kind of air raid going on. It must have been a remarkable day for folks living in that.
And this is well before we have Doppler radar. We have radar, but we don't have the technology we have today. And then imagine trying to get that message out to people. I mean, you're relying on radio at that time and those civil defense sirens. I mean, it's terrifying to think about it.
Hats off to, I believe it was WCCO radio.
That's
the morning radio at the time was credited for saving countless lives because they were live throughout the duration of that onslaught of all those tornadoes moving through and saying, all right, the tornado is on the corner of this and that heading northeast. We're getting reports on the ground, so hats off to them. And it was just a remarkable day in weather history. And again, that happened 60 years ago.
Jeez.
Lots changed since then.
And the number and the size is, I think, what's terrifying to me to think about that we're not talking just our EF zeros and ones. And we see those. I mean, those are more or less common play.
Sure.
And they're not quite as terrifying. They do damage. But imagine it's a day of just F3s and F4s.
Wild.
And you were talking earlier how they kind of more or less went over the same area too. So it wasn't just one and done. This is a reoccurring nightmare throughout the afternoon hours.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was like 3 hours straight of just, all these tornadoes moving through. So we have that end of the spectrum this time of year, but also we have the weather that we're experiencing now. We are easily making it into the 80s again today for the second time. Earlier this week, actually Sunday, was the first day we hit 80 degrees in the Twin Cities. I think we hit 81 degrees for a high. And this is a look right here, the average first temperatures. The date on the left is the average time we reach those thresholds, like the first 50, first 60, et cetera. And on the right, you can see it's the first time we hit it this year. And May 3rd is the average first 80. And look at this year, happened on May 4th. What do you think of that?
We did it I would say in the weather world, that's pretty much right on time. I mean, given a day, that's really a great aim. But when you take a look at the other ones, way ahead of the curve.
Way early. Yeah, the first 50 was in January.
So yeah, you have winters like that. You have springs like it. And those are teases too. I mean, if you hit 50 in January, you're not doing it day in and day out, certainly.
Well, most years.
most years. You have to put a little asterisk on there. But yeah, definitely ahead of the curve on a few of those.
Yeah, no 90s in the forecast yet, but eventually we will get there. But we are in this weather pattern where it seems like day-to-day conditions are very similar. We're in this, it's called an omega blocking pattern. We call it omega because the shape of the wind field in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, that outline there, it looks like the Greek symbol omega. We have a big low pressure system that's cut off from the main flow over the Great Lakes, and there's another one that's over the New Mexico area, and these basically hang in place. So we are in between those lows. We have remarkably nice weather, but what can we see underneath those low pressure systems?
Well, you're going to be stuck with a lot of clouds and that on and off shower activity. Most of these will be just that constant shower. We're not necessarily expecting to see thunderstorm outbreaks under those lows. You'll find them in other parts of the country at that time, but just that constant just grinding in the atmosphere keeps the showers going, the rain going. For the Four Corners region, they're probably loving it. Thinking that, hey, they got some dry weather coming their way in a little while. So right now the deserts are blooming, so they're probably really enjoying that. The Ohio River Valley, the Great Lakes region, they're probably thinking, all right, that's enough, because we still have to get through June, July, and August, and we're going to have some thunderstorms and heavy rain. So they're probably thinking, lakes are getting a little high, rivers are running a little wild, let's tone it down. And we're right in the middle. So yeah, if you're stuck there under that high, this is what you get, a stretch of 80s. And I was thinking, how would you kind of equate that pattern? Because it is a blocking pattern. Nothing's really moving west to east too much. And it's kind of like when you have that football play where there's a lot of east-west movement, the running back's just kind of running left to right and not making progress downfield. That's what the jet stream's doing right now. It's really not moving west to east. It's just kind of stuck in place, and you have that omega pattern really locked in.
Some retrograding. Yeah. Usually you see that we're in the westerlies, right, where most of our weather systems move from west to east. So sometimes you see a little east to west, or just not moving at all. So the weather that you see is the same basically day in and day out. And that's what we can expect over the next week or so, is a little fluctuation in temperature, but otherwise it's pretty warm. It is mostly dry, very isolated rain chances. And you look at the temperature outlook over the next 6 to 10 days. This is from the Climate Prediction Center, and a big bullseye over the upper Midwest, right? Yeah,
dead giveaway of where are you going to find that ridge of high pressure. And it's going to be, again, over the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and you're going to find that colder air. This one doesn't show it as much, but yeah, you can clearly see that the southeast is going to have a lot of rain coming its way, and that cloud cover, and that's really going to do a number on their temperature outlook. And again, you're kind of painting with a broad stroke here, but you get the overall picture. That high is really going to keep it warm right here and home.
And like you said, while some parts of the country bask in the sunshine and see dry weather, other parts of the country are going to see just nothing but rainy activity. I think we have a graphic to show that as well, that shows the 7-day, the QPF, the precip totals, and look what's missing over there. Minnesota and Wisconsin. Not a lot of rain here, but a lot of bright colors, a lot of blue, reds, and oranges across the southern part of the U.S., so a pretty sizable pattern shift.
Yeah, that low that was over the Four Corners region, that's expected to move across the Gulf Coast. And you can see what that means for folks there in the Gulf Coast states. Heavy rainfall, several inches of rain, and again, over a number of days, but still nonetheless, folks there are going to want to see that rain come to an end sooner or later. When you have your part of the country highlighted in reds and oranges like that, a lot of rain, a lot of moisture, a lot to deal with.
So just imagine you are planning a trip. Let's say you're going to maybe do a cruise or something just out of Florida. And then you run into weather like this in Minnesota. You're like, why do we need to leave anywhere? It's sunny and 80, 85 degrees. And then you go somewhere which is traditionally warm, sunny, and dry, and you end up seeing rainy conditions. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And what meteorologist would plan a vacation, say in the middle of May, to go someplace tropical and end up with a lot of rain in their forecast? I don't know who would ever think that. It's irresponsibility on their part.
Yeah, that's not looking forward, not looking into the crystal ball.
No, didn't look too far ahead.
Yeah, but of course, with the return of the warmer weather and the sunshine, people are spending lots of time outdoors. I actually went outside this morning, a walk with my wife. We went outside and I was listening for new birds. And you can hear, I mean, they're back. The most of the ones that you hear basically all summer long, the robins, they have been back, red-winged blackbirds and stuff like that. But you look at the return of the big three. We saw our first oriole this morning.
Really? I
Yeah.
have not seen one around my backyard yet.
Yeah, they must just starting to be showing up, and I just think they're just the coolest birds. Bright orange and black with the sound that they make is really cool. We have heard reports of some hummingbirds around, and as well as a couple of grosbeaks. So it's pretty cool to see the return of the big three this time of year, because it means that basically summer is right around the corner.
Yeah, hummingbirds are my favorite. We set out hummingbird feeders. They'll be on the back of our deck, and they just move from feeder to feeder around the neighborhood. But those are hummingbirds. What I watch for when it comes to spring and summertime.
And I like getting buzzed by them too.
Yeah.
You just hear they don't make the most discernible noise. I'm sure they make some chirps or whatever, but you just got buzzed by one. Just
Yeah, you'll hear them. And sometimes we're just sitting on the back deck, and there'll be one up behind us. You'll just hear it just hovering. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, and I know a lot of folks are looking at this warmer weather as a gift because, well, areas in northern Minnesota, you go to the far northern part of the state, and there's still ice on some lakes in northern Minnesota, especially along the international border. Lake the Woods still has a good chunk of the northern part of the state, the northern part of the lake, mostly in Canada, but they're still locked in ice. I did look on some satellite imagery, and there was some ice still on Lake Vermilion as well.
Oh,
it's mostly clear, but I imagine if you're a fisherman and you're just waiting, you're chomping at the bit to go off fishing. This weekend's the opener, this Saturday. You're waiting for not only the ice to get off the lakes, but at least the lakes to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you're just hoping that spring's got to be getting here, and that's that visual cue when you see that ice still on that lake. It's got to be a little bit disheartening. Thinking, come on, it's middle of May. We're almost to the middle of May. Let's get this ice out.
Yeah,
here.
we had the Wisconsin opener last weekend. I know a lot of boats were out on the St. Croix River. This weekend is the Minnesota opener. I used to do that a lot as a kid. We used to go to Mille Lacs, and we used to do the ceremonial first cast at midnight.
Oh, really?
So you'd be out there at 11:30 at night, bobbing around. It's pitch dark outside, depending on the moon situation. But you'd look out and you'd see other boats, like the red and the green and the white, their lights, And it was kind of cool. It was kind of, it was ceremonial. It was almost a spiritual experience where you're outside and, it's pitch dark out and you're like, what am I doing out here? And you cast out and then you start catching fish. It's pretty cool.
Good times.
Not so much anymore.
We always went up after the opener. We always knew the roads were going to be really, really hectic. So we're like, okay, we'll wait for the opener, and then the next weekend we'll go up to our cabin. But but we drive by Mille Lacs, and this time of year, it's covered in boats.
Yeah, and probably on the cooler side too. If the breeze is coming off that lake, it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
Say, you had a school talk earlier today, right? That you want to share. Where'd you go?
I went to Matoska. Many people, it's in the White Bear Lake area. Many people pronounce it Matoska, but I was told today it's Matoska.
Okay, sure.
And White Bear Lake, and so there I am. It's the kindergartners, and if you look carefully, you might see some colors in the hair. There's a gal sitting right in front of me. She's got a little rainbow color.
Yeah.
It was Wacky Hair Day. I didn't know this until I got there, but it was Wacky Hair Day. And so some of the kids came in, they had colors in their hair. They maybe had their hair done up kind of crazy and goofy and whatnot.
Did they offer to give you rainbow colored hair?
No. I didn't take them up on any offers like that. But again, kindergartners are very inquisitive. They want to know about tsunamis and hurricanes and how we do a forecast kind of thing.
All right.
So it was a good time.
Awesome stuff. Well, that's about does it for our This Week in Weather Minds. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week to talk about more weather topics in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the upper Midwest, and nationally. Everyone have a great day.